Hello guys, so today I would like to answer one question I was asked with one of my friends, and it's basically based on why is it important that we learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript if we have tools like WordPress, tools like Shopify, tools like, Wix, etc. So why is it important that we learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? And so this is the question that he asked me. Let me just read and then I'll give you the answer that I gave him. And this is the question. He said, "Hi, bro. I was learning something about web development, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and such. I came across WordPress. I know you are familiar with it. So, why is it that HTML and CSS necessary if we have a tool like WordPress other than the reason for paying for it? And why not use WordPress?" So many people, even I, when I was starting development, I used to think that WordPress is not, or rather, WordPress is that king. If I know WordPress, then I know everything. But later I came to understand that in no way, if you are a developer or a software engineer, you can escape code. Ultimately, you need to have a good understanding of JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and maybe even specialize to some framework like Laravel, Django, Flask, whatever the framework you are good in. So this is the answer that I gave him. And I told him that WordPress, it is good for content-based website, all right? It's good for content-based website. And basically what I meant here is that WordPress is good for building things that they're majorly like blogs, things like e-commerces, majorly things that revolve around content. WordPress will be a good tool to help manage such things. Why? Because it is easily to perform functionalities such as SEO. It is easily to manage things like pictures, to optimize pictures with WordPress. So basically, WordPress is good for content-based website and simple website, all right? But with time, you'll find that when you want to customize things like themes, WordPress themes, and WordPress plugins, ultimately you'll still need JavaScript, you'll still need CSS, you'll still need HTML, and you'll need to have a good understanding to create something that is customized, something that suits the client. I remember one client who told me to develop a site for him, and I did a site for him using WordPress. And ultimately, he came again complaining, saying that he never liked the way the site looked. Why? Because not because the site was bad, but because he had an attitude towards WordPress. So imagine in that case, if I never knew how to code in HTML, how would I have resolved such a case? So as a developer, I believe coding skills are essential, and no matter how good you are in WordPress, you still need to understand these HTML, JavaScript, and other coding techniques. The other thing I told him is that to build highly customized website APIs, admin panels, WordPress might never be good for that. And it is usually painful doing such development with WordPress. I remember that there's a site we did using WordPress. We were quite a number of developers. And I remember when it came to APIs, I just hated WordPress when working with APIs. The code was just cluttered, the code, it was just hard to manage, and it required a lot of in-depth knowledge to create efficient code. Unlike things like Laravel, which the documentation is quite straightforward, and they're just awesome when building things like API, like building things like customized admin panels. So on that note, I can say that ultimately you cannot escape code as a developer. You might know WordPress, but code is always king when it comes to software development. Basically, when you learn code, it is not a waste of time. Ultimately, somewhere along the line, as a software engineer, as a software developer, you will need to use this code. Either is it to customize WordPress, or either is it to develop your own themes, your plugin. And so I encourage him to continue learning code and become good at something. And ultimately, he'll find that it will make him a much efficient and effective software developer as compared to when he has not learned coding.